Good evening, everyone. It's been a little bit. If you haven't been here before, my name's Molly. I'm the Executive Director here at the RAL National Association. And I'm here with Gene Guarino tonight. Many of you may know him as the founder of the RAL Academy. And tonight he's going to be talking about a different adventure that we all love so much with Pitchmasters Academy. And he's going to be teaching you guys how to come up with funds or how to prepare for those next projects, whether you're during your project right now or whether you're coming up in a new project, how to build funds for those projects and how to present yourself properly. And so I just want to go over a couple of little things before I get down to the nitty gritty here. But if you guys have questions throughout the presentations, there is a questions tab that you can click on. And you can ask me questions throughout the presentation on whether you're unable to see a screen or whether you need some help with something. I sometimes can try and navigate you through that while on the background while Gene is speaking. Otherwise, Gene's going to answer questions at the end. And if you stick around, he's got a good deal towards the end. So you want to make sure that you stay all the way till the end. I promise it won't be too long. So Gene, thank you so much for joining us here tonight. And I know everyone's super excited to hear what you have to say. So I will hand things over to you, and thank you.
Well, thank you. It's so, it's so neat to see you in this format because we get to see each other during the day-to-day kind of things, but I've not been on your presentation here for the whole association. So thank you for inviting me. I appreciate that.
Of course. All these people are used to seeing me here and used to all of my spiels here. So now they get to see you do your thing, huh?
You did a great job in the intro too. Thank you for doing that.
Thank you.
All right. Well, I'm gonna share my screen, and as soon as you flip it on over to me, let's see. I think I have to go.
Press the play button right there.
Oh, there it is. So you are probably seeing. Hang on for a second. Do you see the single? It just says Pitchmasters Academy now.
You got it. You're perfect.
Cool. All right. Well, thank you, everybody. And thank you again, Molly. I appreciate that. This is, you all know me as the founder of the Residential Assisted Living Academy. And doing assisted living is really our passion, what we do from a business perspective. And as we all know, when you're in this business itself, the ability to raise capital for buying the property, starting the business, renovating the property, expanding your business is one of the critical key components. We know in the Residential Assisted Living Academy that there's some major pieces that people need to accomplish, and the raising of the capital is what we're going to talk about tonight. Now, my goal here is to explain to you what you need to do to be prepared to be able to present yourself. And when I use the word pitch, and I want you to think of that as a negative thing, anytime you're presenting, whether it's to your kids as into which restaurant you're going to go to, or whether it's to a banker to be able to give you a loan, you need to be able to present yourself properly. Now, I'm going to give you the information here tonight. And again, just like Molly said, if you have questions as we go through, type those in. And if it's appropriate for her to answer, she will. And if it's appropriate for me, at the end, I'll answer that for you. And just as she said, you stay right to the end because I'm going to give you a really huge special opportunity. When I say Pitchmasters Academy, this is something we've actually been putting together now for about 2 years. And it all started from there's people that have been in the residential assisted living business or want to get in who have said, I need to learn how to raise money. So whether they have their own money or not, whether they go to a bank, get a loan, whether they do syndication or something else, they needed to present themselves properly. On the other hand, we've had a lot of people approach us over the last 7 years as we've been doing the RAL Academy saying, Gene, we want to invest. We want to provide capital. We would like to lend to or partner with potential operators. So you got people with money and people who need money. So we're looking at this saying, well, how do we bring these two together? And the challenge up to this point before Pitchmasters Academy was that those people who need money, maybe they came through our training, they've not had their first home up and running yet, but they're not ready. They're not presentable. And when I say presentable, not ready, what I mean is they're simply not prepared to talk to that bank or talk to that investor or talk to whoever it is that has the capital that they need or the credit that they need. So we needed to help those people get prepared. The people with the money, they've got a big problem. And I'm going to explain that to you, what their problem is, their issue. And that problem, that issue is your opportunity. On this side, those people that have the need for the capital, they got a problem too. That presentation, that perfecting of that presentation is what they need. So all of that to say, that's why we came up with Pitchmasters Academy. to help those people that need to raise the capital be prepared so that they can be connected with and actually make a proper presentation to get the loan, the investment, whatever it may be, to get the capital that they need. So when I say Pitchmasters Academy, my guess is all of you, because this is with the National Association, are here because you want to learn how to open or expand or add to your portfolio of residential assisted living. But what I'm going to teach you tonight is something you can apply to anything that you ever want to do when it comes to business. So I want you to listen and learn. And again, at the end, I'll stay and answer questions for you, but I've got a huge opportunity for you there as well. So when I say Pitchmasters Academy right here, this is from the website, and I'm going to give it to you in a little bit. But you notice there's 3 people there, and I'm going to introduce them to you. And our whole theme, the whole premise is to prepare, to present, and to do it in a perfect manner. So when I say perfect, you're never going to be perfect, but perfecting that, the preparation, the presentation, and perfecting it, that's our ultimate goal of what we do. So that's what I'm going to focus on, and I'm going to share with you some key insights. Now, again, you know me as the founder of the Residential Assisted Living Academy, but in addition to that, I've personally sold over $100 million from the stage. When I say from the stage, that in the olden days, if you will, we'd be on a physical stage in front of 100 or 1,000 people. Today, a lot of presentations are done online. So this is kind of a presentation skill right here, and the ability to look somebody in the eye on the camera. So what I do, and raising capital for other people, for myself, in addition to that, can apply towards selling products. But I've got a lot of experience doing that, 30 plus years as a professional speaker. A lot of times people come up and say, I wish I could speak as well as you can. Well, that's 30 plus years of experience that got me there. But I'm going to be sharing a lot of that with you along the way through Pitchmasters Academy. I'm also a lifelong entrepreneur. I've never had an official job, a 9 to 5, someplace I have to be at 9 and leave at 5. I've had over 20 businesses in the last 40 plus years. I'm the founder of the AL Family Group of companies, which includes the Residential Assisted Living Academy. I've trained over 300,000 people worldwide, and I've helped raise over $50 million for projects. And that sounds like a lot, but my partners in Pitchmaster have raised 10 times that and much, much more. In addition, I've written books and hosted radio shows, and many of you have seen the books or you've seen the podcast or heard the podcast. I've been married for, I got to update that, 35 years now, and I'm very proud to say just an incredible woman, Mona, my life partner, 4 amazing kids, all of which now work for us in the AL families. Yeah, until this past weekend with Thanksgiving and this weekend and so on, it was only 3 of the 4, but now it's all 4, which is great. And I've got 2 grandkids. So that's a little bit about me, so you know my background. But the investor's challenges, I want to start there because if you're looking to raise capital, you're thinking of yourself. What do I need? What do I want? And I want you to think differently for a moment. I want you to think about that investor, that person who has the money. What do they need? What are their challenges? And when I put it to you that way and we start to think about it, well, they have money that they need to invest right now. You know, it's interesting because I'm in a number of different masterminds and I meet with people from all over the country virtually. In those masterminds, one of the things that's happening right now is everybody is doing tax planning. And a lot of successful business people, a lot of successful entrepreneurs, and a lot of people that have money are looking for ways to spend or invest that money literally right now. Because if they do it by December 31st, they get a tax deduction or a write-off this year. And if they wait till January 1st, they miss out for an entire year. So they have money to invest right now. And that may not sound like a problem, but it is for those people that have money. They also don't want to expose themselves to the world. And let me explain what I mean. If we were sitting in a room of 1,000 people and it said, everybody who has $1 million in your bank account, raise your hand, we'd get very few people raising their hand. But I guarantee you there's a large number of people in that room that would have the money in the account, but they don't want to expose themselves. Now, that's the person literally sitting in the room next to you. When we talk about gathering money or somebody investing in or lending money to, one of the bigger places you can go besides a bank is called a family office. A family office is a family that has money that they need to invest. Now, you might think of things like the Marriott family or the Hilton family. Hopefully you don't think of Paris Hilton, but you think of the Hilton hotels, the Hilton family, or the cowboy hat, the Stetson family. These families have hundreds of millions of dollars, some of them billions of dollars that they need to invest, but they don't want to expose themselves to the world. They're not sitting on the street corner saying, I've got $1 billion. Do you need some money? The next thing is most of the pitches they get are not well done. You know, when we were doing this, we were trying to bring together investors with our students who need capital. One of the things that the investors kept telling us time and time and time and time again is most of the people who come to them to present, to pitch, were not prepared. They were bad presentations. They were not well done. Now, I've been an angel investor, and that's somebody who invests in projects and products in early stages. So that's considered an angel investor. So I've been an angel investor, and I've been pitched hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times. My partner in Pitchmasters, Kevin Harrington, over 50,000 pitches he's personally heard. When you start to think about that, you can understand that most of them are not well done, and it gets a little bit irritating if somebody's not prepared. So number one, if you've got somebody who doesn't want to expose themselves, tell you who they are, but you finally find them and you're not prepared for that presentation, well, that's not going to work out really well. So that's the investor's challenges. You, the potential presenter, what are your challenges? Well, number one, you don't know what you don't know. I've been raising capital for projects that I've done since I was 18 years old. The very first real estate transaction I did was no money down because I had no money. I had no money, no credit, no clue. So we had to go raise capital. And I had to learn from the school of hard knocks. And that's the most expensive tuition of all. But the concept of don't know what you don't know, I get that. I understand that. They don't know how to locate the right investors is the second one, because there's all kinds of reasons why somebody may want to invest, even literally give you money, charity, foundation, give you money. But if you don't know how to locate the right investors, it's going to be hard for that presenter to do it. And they don't know how to communicate with them. Communication, the skill of being able to present yourself, whether it be virtually, online, in person to a large group, or a one-on-one conversation, maybe in an elevator for 30 seconds, all of those are important skills to have. So the investor has challenges, the presenter has challenges. So what do those investors and lenders want? Now that we have an idea what their challenges are, what do they want? Well, accredited investors or private lenders and family offices, they have some specific needs. Now, I described to you what a family office is. It's literally a family whose their whole generation after generation is all about investing the money that they have to make sure to preserve it, protect their name, protect the integrity, and get a rate of return. There are people that have money that want to lend that money out, private lenders, and they do it kind of as a business. Instead of putting the money in the bank and earning 1%, they might loan it to somebody at 6%. An accredited investor is somebody who has a very specific criteria. Accredited investor, $1 million net worth, not including their own personal home, 300,000 annual income for the last 2 years, or as a couple, 500,000 for the last 2 years. So there's certain qualifications for an accredited investor, but they're looking for great opportunities. I mean, they really do want to invest. They don't want to give their money. They don't want to waste their money, don't want to squander the money, but they're looking for great opportunities. And they also want to invest in great deals. So yeah, they're looking for a great rate of return and a great opportunity, but they get frustrated because people are not prepared. So I'm on the board for a nonprofit that does housing for adult children with autism. And the presentation is to people with money that they will donate to this foundation, this nonprofit. If the presentation isn't done well, they're not going to write a check and invest, or in this case, donate. So they get frustrated because people are not prepared. So when you're talking about successfully raising capital, safety, the return of that capital is number one. See, I know sometimes people think it's all about the return. I have a great opportunity. You can make a lot of money. No, the first thing is my money safe? Can I get it back? The next thing is the people. Who is the borrower, or in the case of a residential assisted living home, who's the operator? So the people that are involved. If there's your values match, right? You think like they think. You're not all about business. You also have a heart. You're not all heart. You also understand business. There's a meeting of the mind, but they need to understand. And by the way, if this is your very first home that you're raising capital for, first thing you need to do is surround yourself with other people that have what you don't have, whether that be skill or experience or whatever it may be. So in your business plan, it's important to surround yourself with other people, borrow from their experience. That's an important part. And an exit plan. In other words, if you're raising capital and you want the bank to loan you money, they typically want it paid off in a certain period of time. Now, if it's a personal home, they'll amortize it, interest and principal, over the course of 30 years or 15 years. So their exit plan is we're going to hold the note, the bank, and they're going to receive the money for the next 15 or 20 or 30 years. The bank also may have another exit plan. As soon as they lend the money to you, they take that note that you signed promising to pay and they sell it to somebody else and they make money on that. Now, I don't want to go down that route. All I want you to know is if you're going to borrow money or have somebody invest in you, there has to be an exit plan. They're not looking to be in the relationship for life. So why was this whole thing created, this Pitchmasters? Again, we know what it takes to get the funding. I've helped people raise over $50 million. My partners collectively over $1 billion between the two, and I'll introduce them to you in just a moment. In addition, we know what investors want. I've been an investor. One of the largest angel investor deals that I did was over $500,000, but that's small compared to what many others do. So the reality is we understand not only what you need to do to get the funding, but what those investors want before they give you that funding. And also, we know how to prepare you to get the funding that you want. So that's why Pitchmasters was created. Now, the Pitchmasters team, I've mentioned them a couple of times. Let me kind of explain them to you. Number one, you've learned about myself, but my friend Matt Scott from 7X Capital, tremendous amount of experience, and I'm going to introduce him fully in a moment. And then my friend Kevin Harrington, I've known him for at least a dozen years now. You know him as one of the original sharks from Shark Tank. But Matt Scott, his company 7X Capital has helped raise capital for other businesses over $500 million. He's got a 14-person team, and his company itself, I frankly looked long and hard at all of the different available partners to work with on this, and Matt was the absolute best choice for it. His knowledge, his education, his experience, his team, he understands what it takes to raise capital, to do it properly and legally. And then Kevin Harrington. Again, you know Kevin as one of the original sharks from Shark Tank. By the way, he was on for the first 2 seasons, and he's more of a product guy. That's really his main thing. You know him from TV, the as seen on TV, that's Kevin. The infomercials that you see on TV, he's the godfather of that. He created the very first infomercial that we know of today. So the reality is this guy has done a tremendous amount of work, and as one of the original sharks on Shark Tank for the first 2 seasons, he's also a little bit ADD. He's got a lot of energy, and he knows in 30 seconds if it's a good product for him or not. And those shows would take all day long to film, and he just didn't find that it was worth his time to do. But his book, and I will tell you this book is no longer in print, but you can get it on Audible. So you can listen to the book, Act Now. Part of it, he tells the story of the beginning of the infomercial and how it all came about. Fascinating story. But you know him again from infomercials, George Foreman, the grill, from Billy Mays, the late Billy Mays. He was the one who discovered him, and, all the way down to this guy right here, Tony. And Tony in National Rental, you see him on TV all the time. But one of the first times I had an opportunity to work with Kevin, we were in Puerto Rico. We were working with investors that were presenting to investors. So it was before Shark Tank, and we were there, and my job was frankly to get those investors prepared. Now, my job was to get them prepared. Kevin was one of the investors to bring them in front of. And the reality is a lot of these people, and some of them were executives at eBay, and they had large, huge needs for capital and great, tremendous ideas, but their presentations were terrible. And we had to work with them and get them prepared to pitch. That's really kind of the essence of where it began for me, teaching others and showing others and developing that. One of the recent times I got together with Kevin, we were in an event where we were there and people were pitching to us their products, their services, and we're making decisions on yes, we will or no, we won't invest in, depending on that presentation. So we've got a lot of experience together, and we even did a webinar before our national convention for the REL National Association, the national convention that they put on. But I'm going to bring Kevin back in a little bit because you'll see how you may be able to get involved there and get a chance to meet Kevin at some point in the near future. But 80% of getting what you want, frankly, your success is in your presentation. And when I say 80%, that means it's not who you know, it's not even what you know, it's in how you present what you know and who you know. That's a really important distinction. Now, why pitch at all? I mean, I already described to you what pitching is and what it's all about, but number one, to raise capital. Two, maybe it's to increase revenue. If you're going to raise the price on your product or in your care home, you're going to raise the rates from 4,000 to 4,500. You better be able to present that, pitch that in a proper way, an appropriate way to the families. Exposure. You know, how do you get on a podcast? How do you get exposure? How do you get on the radio or TV? PR, press release, or that PR, that exposure is important. Those are all reasons why you should pitch. And to inspire associates. What I mean by that is if you have people, caregivers, let's say in your care home that are working for you, why? Why do they work for you versus somebody else? Is it because you pay them more? Well, are they inspired to work with you? Do they want to be with you? Do they want to spend time with you? All of those are great reasons to raise, to pitch, to learn how to, and I'm going to focus on that number one, which is the raising of the capital. But communication, I said 80% is in your presentation, but 10% of what you actually communicate is in what you say, the words. 20 to 30% is in how you say it. Let me give you something really simple, 3 words. I love you. I love you. Just 3 words. Now, what you said is I love you. Now, let me say it differently and see how it changes meanings. I love you. I love you. I love you. So there's 3 different meanings in just how it was said by just the emphasis on one of the words. But more importantly than that is the body language. You know, as I'm sitting here in front of you, I'm sitting up straight. I'm dressed with a shirt that hopefully is not offensive to anybody. And I'm sitting in a room that looks comfortable to you. It's an office in the background. But all of that is planned. I could have put on a virtual background and I'm in the ocean or on the beach or something like that. And that's fine if it was appropriate. But the body language, you'll notice a lot of times I'm using my hands, and that's important. So if you start to watch for body language and understanding, when somebody is leaning in and nodding their head, they're agreeing with you. If somebody all of a sudden folds their arms when you said something, made an offer, that means they're putting up a barrier, a wall. But the communication of body language is incredibly important. You can literally understand people by just watching them. Very, very important. So communication, but it's safety first, as I said, for that investor. The return of the capital is more important than the return on the capital. That's important for you to understand. And if you've ever watched Shark Tank, you've got Mr. Wonderful who sits in the middle. And many times, body language, he's steepling his fingers when he's thinking about a deal. Now, when he's doing that, by the way, body language, what that's telling you is he's thinking about it. And he's thinking about what is the opportunity for him. That literally is what the translation is. And he does this all the time. And then he'll say words like, I think of my money like kids. I want them to go out and play, but I want them to come home and bring friends with them. So he personalizes the money in that experience, but there's body language going on, there's word pictures going on, but it's safety first. The return of the capital is more important than the return on the capital. You must get into their head before you get into their hearts. See, I know because I have listened to hundreds and hundreds of pitches, sometimes people can overshare. They can dwell on a point, a nuance that is important to them, or a fact or a figure or something that they think is important, and they're not thinking about what is that investor, that lender, that banker, what's important to them. But we have to get into their head. They need to understand what we're doing before we can tug on their heart. So for instance, I said I'm on the board of directors for a company, nonprofit, that is accepting donations so that they can provide housing for adult children with autism. Now that's an important thing. That's a heart thing, but they need to understand what are the facts and what are the figures. How many people, how many adults, how many beds or homes are needed? How long will they need it for? How much money is there? How much money is out there? All of those things are the head before we can talk about the heart. If all I did was talk about this massive need and these people really need this help, that won't translate. Remember, investors love money. So ultimately, the bank, there, it's not personal for them. It's just a business. You either fit in their box or you don't. But somebody who has money is going to make a decision based on, does it make sense? Can I make money on this? And then it's, is this a good thing? Is there some impact? Is there some heart to it? But we don't lead with the heart. That's the point I want to get across. And then there's something called, I like to call it the Goldilocks syndrome. Size does matter. Remember Goldilocks? Oh, that chair's too small. That chair's too big, but this one's just right. That bed's too small, too big, just right. Too cold, too hot, just right. Size does matter when it comes to the bank, the lender, the investor, because if somebody only will invest $5 million as a minimum investment and all you need is 500,000, you're talking to the wrong person, which is a point we made before. On the other hand, if the most they could possibly invest is 500,000 and that's stretching it for them, and you're asking for 5 million, it doesn't matter how good your presentation is. Size does matter. And then this point, the Godfather paradigm. Just when I thought I was out, they keep pulling me back in. That's the exit plan. Making sure that you have an exit plan within the business plan that you create. Now I'm going to start to throw out some, here's what you needs, and you can make a list of them, but I'm going to give you a resource in just a moment. And by the way, when we put together Pitchmasters Academy, we did it originally as a live event. You had to fly into Phoenix, Arizona, spend 3 days with us personally, and we would teach all of this information. And then we realized very quickly, there is so much information that we want to impart. Number one, we couldn't fit it into all 3 days alone. In addition to that, we realized there was a lot of material that if we could get this training and present it to people online, like we do now through Pitchmaster Academy, that you could learn this and accomplish this from the comfort of your own home. So we put Pitchmasters Academy online, and that whole process itself has been amazing. Because reality is there's so much to share, so many different topics, that now we can just continue to add information. So what I'm going to share with you is basically where we're currently at with the Pitchmaster Academy. And we just keep adding and adding and adding. But it's a one-stop shop for the information, the knowledge that you need in order to raise the capital that you desire. Now there's 10 steps to a winning pitch, and that's one of the gifts that we'll give you later on tonight. And I'm going to share with you exactly how you can get that opportunity. Kevin Harrington, my friend, again, he is going to be, it's not part of this right now, but he's going to be coming to do a live presentation for us in April of this year. We'll be working together. Some of you may be interested in being a part of that. That'll be a future conversation we'll have. But the first step is the Pitchmasters Academy online. So one of the very first modules is Advice from a Shark. This is Kevin Harrington, and keep in mind, nearly $6 billion in sales. The godfather of the infomercial. He has listened to 50,000 plus pitches. He has raised over $500 million for funding companies. This guy's got a lot of wisdom, a lot of experience. So we start off with Advice from a Shark, one of the original sharks from Shark Tank. And then my friend Matt Scott with his company 7X Capital. He put together a lot of information, and it's in 3 different sections. It was so much information. During our 3-day training, he did a lot of that training, and we wanted to make sure that it was recorded in a manner that would be very beneficial no matter what you're looking to raise capital for. So raising capital faster, part 1 and part 2. And then the third piece that he put together is the 8 critical elements. Learning things like, how do I find the right investor? How do I put it all together in a way that they're going to ask me if they can invest? So those 3 sections from him alone, and we have a dozen other trainers covering all kinds of topics, everything from a winning business plan. You know, I'm guessing many of you as entrepreneurs have started businesses, operated businesses with no written business plan at some point in your life. I know I have. And many times we do it, the business is successful, and we say, well, we don't need a business plan. The question is, how much more successful could it have been? Or how much faster could I have gotten there? Or how much opportunity did I leave on the table? So having a business plan is critical to your success, but if you want to raise money, you must have it. It's an essential. There is no maybe I will, maybe I won't. You need it, and it needs to be a winning business plan. We know how to do that, and we'll teach you that in that module, creating a winning business plan. And then we talk about thriving in business. There's all kinds of business phases that people go through. Today we did an hour and a half, our team did an hour and a half coaching session where we had an outside coach coaching us. So we do this, we work on this, we live it, we practice it, we breathe it, and now we're sharing it and teaching it with you. Successful webinars. This right here would be considered a webinar. Webinars are done in all kinds of formats today, GoToMeeting, Zoom, other formats too, but doing a successful webinar with a beginning, a middle, and end, and understanding that flow. And then how to market yourself, personal branding. I was on a call today where I was consulting with someone on how do I start my personal brand? Where do I begin? What's the first, second, third, 10th step? How do I begin this process? So those two modules are also included in the Pitchmasters Academy online. How to host a podcast. I've had a number of regular, what I call terrestrial radio shows where you used to have to turn a dial in your car on your radio. Today we do podcasts. We can record it, put it online, people download it and listen to it at their convenience. So how to host a successful podcast, how to do it in a way that you can become a thought leader in your industry, which will help you raise the capital and get all kinds of opportunity coming your way. So that module, how to host a podcast, will teach you that. How to write, publish, and launch a book. Now, I know many of you have thought about writing a book before, a book on a specific topic, or maybe it's your own personal life, but how to go through that process, and whether you do it yourself or hire somebody to help you get through that, or whether you just turn it over to somebody else, we're going to teach you that as well. How to write, publish a book. In addition, when we say win funds and influence people, my very good friend Russell Gray from the Real Estate Guys radio show, he is an expert at winning funds and influencing people. Syndication, raising capital. Syndication is putting together the right paperwork, a PPM, private placement memorandum, so you have the legal document to be able to collect money from other people to put into a project that you are now in control of. So he's going to introduce that topic to you, but my friend Matt Smith, my partner in this, he's got tremendous depth of information in his 3 sections. The next one is how to create a pitch deck. When I say a pitch deck, when you're watching this screen right now, you're seeing my face, but you're seeing slides go across the screen. The slides, that information you're seeing, is called a pitch deck. So we say pitch deck, that's part of that visual presentation when you want to raise capital. So how to create a successful pitch deck, how to create a successful one page. There's pieces of paper or brochures, trifold brochures that people create to be able to hand physically to somebody to give them information. So how to do a successful one page. In addition to that, how to profit from the stage, an introduction to presenting, public speaking. And I know for some of you that may be a very uncomfortable point to be at, but I've done it for 30 years in front of hundreds of thousands of people. I love it, and I love teaching other people how to do it as well. And I can teach you how to do it very successfully and comfortably. The next module is secret assets and strategies. See, part of this is that there's money that you're going to make, you're going to need to protect, and then invest in tax-free investing. And when we say less, close more, some selling and closing techniques, some tremendous information from Carla Lee Martinez and some of my other friends who are absolute experts at this, and tax deduction strategies. Now, originally we started off, there was 14 different modules in Pitchmasters Academy Online. We're now at 20, and we're just continuing to add and add and add. And tonight I'm going to give you an opportunity to get involved, and get involved a lot sooner than others, because frankly, this is the first presentation that I've made on Pitchmasters Academy Online besides our national convention. This is it. And the opportunity that I'm going to offer you here tonight is not offered to other people. It's just for you. Now, I'm giving you a website, and I encourage you to write that down right now. I put the capital letters in there just to make it easier to see, but it's Pitchmasters with an S, Academy.com. Pitchmastersacademy.com. And I'm going to give you a special code in just a few moments. That special code is going to give you an enormous opportunity. So PITCHMASTERSACADEMY.com, pitchmastersacademy.com. When you go there later tonight, even right now, you're going to see this. You're going to see a lot of the material that I just shared with you there and a lot more description. But at the bottom, when it says enroll now, it's going to say $29.95. That is the price that you'll see right there. It also says 14 courses. We've got currently 20, and we're just continuing to add more and more. That 10 steps to a winning pitch is included there. But you know that I'm going to give you a very special opportunity here tonight for RALNA. And again, I appreciate Molly inviting me and allowing me to present this to you here tonight. So I want to make sure that you understand this. When you go to pitchmastersacademy.com and you hit that enroll now button, you're going to see that initial price of $29.97. When you press that enroll now button, it's going to bring you to a screen that looks like this. There's going to be a button, and you're going to see this number one. We've discounted that to $9.95. Now, when you see it on the website, it'll be discounted to $9.95. So from $3,000 down to $1,000. But I've got something even more for you here tonight. Again, very special opportunity for RALNA. Right next to that, you're going to see another button, and it says have a promo code. And on that button, that's where I want you to put in a promo code. The promo code is RALNA, RALNA. All capital letters, RALNA, and then press the button that says apply. So when you do that, press the button that says apply, and it's going to change the price to $395. So it's an additional $600 discount. So it's going from $3,000 down to $395. Now, why are we doing this? Well, it's a very special offer for RALNA, and the reason why we're doing it, this is important. It's an important skill for you to have to be able to present yourself properly. Whether it's get a loan from the bank, whether it's raise capital, whether it's to choose a movie within the family, or have a resident's family say, yes, I choose to have mom move into your home so your home is full and your business is profitable. But I also understand that there's a lot of reasons why people would want to raise capital. And this preparation and presentation and perfecting it, that process is what we help people work on. Step one, you've got to be prepared. You need a professional and effective business plan. You need accurate financial projections, and we'll share that with you as well. Professional PowerPoint, the pitch deck, and then the potential investors identified. You need to know who they are, where they are, and how to present to them. And you need to understand what is a PPM, private placement memorandum. Now, we have resources, by the way. If you were to go to an attorney, it might be $10,000 or $12,000 or $15,000. But if you work with the people that we work with, it's a fraction of that. So if you want to raise capital and do it properly and legally, a PPM is required. We'll show you how to get that done for a fraction of what it would cost you with an outside attorney, not knowing what you're doing or where to go. But you must be ready to present publicly, in front of other people. You need to understand communication, whether it's the words, how you say it, the body language. In addition to that, in print, how to communicate, whether it be an email, the words you use, the combinations of, or in person or online, all of those communication styles, and you need to have sales skills and confidence. And I know when some of you hear that word sales and pitch, it's a little rub for you. But the reality is either you're being sold or you're selling somebody else. But you can't sell somebody something they don't want. If somebody doesn't want to make money, if somebody doesn't want to be successful, if somebody doesn't want to raise capital, if somebody doesn't want to get a loan, if somebody doesn't want people to invest in their deal, that's it. They won't. But if those people have the money and they have a need and they have a challenge, and the bank's goal is to lend money and they need to do that, our goal is to help them be successful. So it's not sales, it's moving them from point A to point B, getting them what they want. You can call it what you want, but your presentation and doing it with confidence and knowledge is incredibly important. Step three is perfect. And perfect really comes after the fact, giving you an opportunity to pitch, to launch, and ultimately to implement. Now, those who get the Pitchmasters Academy online, we're going to give you an opportunity to learn how to perfect what you're doing after that. So who's this for? For everybody here who's listening, of course, but people that are serious about raising capital that need to launch, fund, or expand your business. In addition, people that want to learn how to pitch anything. It's a skill that you should have, and we can teach it to you. In addition, people that want to learn to communicate effectively. Communication is one of the most important skills you can possibly have and pass on to those that you love. So what will you learn in the Pitchmasters Academy? We went through all the different modules, exactly what's required to pitch effectively, how to create an effective PowerPoint, a pitch deck to pitch with, and how to talk the effective communication skills and dramatically improve those presentation skills, how to have the confidence to pitch successfully, and so much more. So all of that is a part of it. And the ultimate goal is to get you prepared so that gives you the opportunity to pitch successfully with confidence so you can get the funding that you're looking for. Again, pitchmastersacademy.com is the website. When you go there, it's going to say $29.95. When you press that button that says enroll now, you're going to see that it's already discounted to $9.95. But with the special code word that we gave you, RALNA, and I'm going to say this now, that'll be good for one week, not a year, not a month, 1 week, because I know Molly is going to record this. She's going to send it out. It's going to be available too. This is for those of you that take action, because successful people do take action. And that's why I'm giving you the opportunity. Put in that code word, RALNA, all caps, press the word apply. And when you do, it discounts it by an additional $600 all the way down to $395. And all of the updates that we're in development of right now that we'll continue to add to the Pitchmasters Academy online will all be included as well. You have access to that without question, no problem at all. Now, I know I went through a lot of information and some of it was kind of fast. I want to make sure you understand where to go. The pitchmastersacademy.com website, and then that code word that I gave you, which is the RALNA, is the key. Make sure to hit the apply button, and when you do, it reduces it down to $395. Now there it is, and at this point, thank you so much, first of all, for allowing me to share. I appreciate that. And I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing my screen, and this way we can just talk a little bit here. Hello, Molly, welcome back. There it is. So if you've had some questions come through that would be appropriate, happy to answer those.
Yeah. So we have had, this is a long one. So Joseph, I'm going to do my best to do a little bit of a paraphrase here, but we'll get the point across. Tell me if I don't answer some of it. So basically he's saying he understands when developing his pitch that he needs to explain the opportunity and the security and the terms and things like that. But what about explaining the return? So is it something as simple as here's your interest on your return, or here's the equity, or he says down here, if it's equity, what's fair when you're talking to who's investing?
Okay, two different questions. So first of all, love the question. When you are presenting to somebody, the most important thing you can do, if possible, and it is in most cases, is to find out what's the most important thing to them. For instance, if I go to a bank, the most important thing for them is that their money is safe and that you can prove that they're going to be able to get their payment, that monthly payment, 1.4 times or more. Gene, what does that mean? It's a debt service ratio, debt coverage ratio. It's called different things, but what the bank needs to see is financials that clearly state that you're going to be able to pay the money back. If the loan is $3,000 a month, they want to make sure you can pay back there's at least $4,500 to pay them back. That means you're making profit and they get their payment. So I know for a bank, it's very simple. Here it is. Here's my box. You need to have good credit. You need good collateral. You need some cash invested. And I need to make sure that you are going to generate the money to pay me back 1.4 times and higher. Now, when you're dealing with an investor, somebody who's sitting across the table, or maybe it's a group of people that you're presenting to, there's only assumptions that we can make. But if we talk to them in advance, if it's somebody that one-on-one, I would ask them the question, when you're looking to make an investment, what's most important to you? And if they say something like, well, the rate of return is the most important thing to me, there you go. If they say the safety is the most important thing, there you go. Now, more than likely, it's a combination of a bunch of those things, But the way to present that once we ultimately know is to state it and leave it. When I say state it and leave it, it might be the return is 10% and you get 10% equity. At that point, if they have questions, they'll ask. And that's the key. Less is more. I want to say enough so they're interested and they ask me for more. Now we can go into a lot more depth and we would have to do that on a, you have to get involved for us to start talking about your deal and what is fair, what's proper, what about this, what about that. But if we start with the attitude of what do they want, and you better know what you want, we want to win-win situations. Everybody wins and they're happy.
Which you guys for $395, I'm pretty sure that help is well worth it. I can tell you firsthand. So he says as well, he goes, as a Pitchmasters participant, what does a PPM cost through the Academy?
There you go. And it's not through the Academy. Pitchmasters, when I say Pitchmasters Academy, my partner, Matt Scott, through 7X Capital, with our clients through Pitchmasters Academy, he gives it at a very discounted rate. Instead of, let me just give you ranges, instead of 10 to 15,000 that you would pay for an outside attorney, you certainly could pay more, but 10 to 15 is kind of the going rate. It's probably closer to 4 to 7,000, so kind of half the amount. And that's huge because in essence, it's the same PPM. It's just at half the cost.
And that's just for being a participant in Pitchmasters Academy.
It's a big part of it, yes.
Yeah.
Because part of this, Molly, is the education. When Matt is, with 3 modules of what he needs to explain to somebody inside Pitchmasters Academy online, he understands that if somebody has gotten that education and knowledge, they're already at a certain level. They've already invested in themselves a certain level of knowledge. So he doesn't have to take a bunch of time to explain certain things to them. They're already at a different level.
That makes so much sense. I mean, all of it makes so much sense, right? When you put it in combination together. So the next question we have is this a one-time purchase? So they purchase this one time and then it lasts, or how long does this last?
Yeah, you know what? I would love to say for a lifetime, but the reality is it's for as long as we have it up. There's no reason for us to take it down. Our intention is to continue to add material to it. I've got 3 more that are in the works now, different modules. We started at 14, we're at 20. We're just going to keep adding to it, and we want you to have access to it. So once you have it, you have it. There's no monthly or extension on top of that. But to protect myself, I'm going to say you have access for a year. Okay, we have no intention of turning it off or charging you more, but you have access for a year.
And during that time, you guys are going to keep adding to
Oh
that.
yeah, oh yeah. And again, we're not planning on charging again or whatever. We want you to have access to it.
Perfect. All right, well, that is all the questions I have so far. So unless one of you wants to sneak one in here while I do a little outro here, which happens to me every time. So I like to do a little bit of a talk here where I kind of talk a little bit and then see if someone else throws a question at me, but it's not happening just yet. So otherwise, you did an incredible job. Everyone always loves coming to hear you speak. This was a very popular webinar. And I always adore listening to you speak. Every time you come up with a new company, you know it's going to be great. So I just can't wait for the next one, Gene. So
I appreciate that. And great job tonight. Thank you, everybody, for being here. And you've got it, pitchmastersacademy.com, and use the code word RALNA, all caps, hit the apply, huge discount, just 1 week. Take advantage of it. Thank you, Molly.
All right, guys, have a great night, and I'll see you at the next one.